Welcome back to the show. Today we are diving into a financial crisis that has absolutely nothing to do with your bank account, your credit score, or the economy. We're talking about a debt that most of us are carrying around every single day without even realizing it. It's quiet, it's destructive, and frankly, it is bankrupting our quality of life. Your friends may not say it to your face, but when you leave the room, they're like, phew, they definitely overdosed on bitter pills this morning.
That's right. We usually obsess over our financial debts, mortgages, student loans, credit cards, but there is an invisible line of credit that is far more dangerous. We call it the bitterness and resentment card.
The bitterness and resentment card. I love that imagery, but it's not a card you apply for, is it? It feels more like something that gets slipped into your wallet when you aren't looking.
Exactly. You don't sign up for it. It usually starts with a specific moment, a betrayal, a rejection, or just a really bad day. Every time you replay a grudge or every time you tally up how someone wronged you, you are essentially swiping that card. And let's be honest, some of us aren't just carrying the basic card. We are carrying the gold bitterness card, maybe even the platinum petty plus rewards card.
Oh, I know a few people with the platinum status. They say things like, I've moved on, but they have a folder of screenshots on their phone labeled just in case.
Just in case they try me again. Exactly. Or the spiritual version where you pray for someone to be blessed, but you add a little footnote that says, Lord, bless them with exactly what they gave me so they can learn a lesson. That is a swipe. And the problem is we swipe it for everything.
It's not just the big betrayals, right? It's the daily stuff.
It's everything. The barista messed up your drink 3 years ago? Swipe. Your sister didn't show up to your baby shower? Swipe. That guy who cut you off in traffic this morning? That is a deluxe charge. The issue isn't just the swipe. It's the interest rate. A $5 offense turns into $5,000 worth of lost peace. You end up checking your bitterness balance more often than your actual bank account.
That is such a profound point. You become an accountant of your own misery. You remember the exact date, the time, the weather. March 9th, 2011 at 3:47 p.m. You don't need a bank statement because you are the statement.
And the rewards program is terrible. Think about what you actually earn with those points. For every 1,000 points of resentment, you get 1 sleepless night. You get 2 awkward family gatherings. You get 3 fake smiles at church. We think that by holding on to this debt, we are punishing the person who hurt us. But in reality, we are the only ones paying the annual fee, the interest, and the late charges every single day.
Ouch, not the fake smiles at Beulah Baptist. So why do we do it? If the rewards are trash and the fees are high, why do we keep the account open?
Because it didn't start as a joke. It started with real pain. We have to acknowledge that. We're talking about betrayal, cheating, broken promises, or maybe feeling unappreciated, doing everything for everyone and getting a thumbs up at best. It could be family wounds, rejection, or even career disappointments.
Right? Like watching everyone else's highlight reel on social media while you feel like you're living in the blooper reel. Sometimes I see Facebook highlight reels and I know in real life they are tore up from the floor up.
Precisely. That comparison breeds bitterness, or even regret over your own choices, anger at yourself for past mistakes. All of that is valid pain. But if it never heals, it becomes a lens. Even when good things happen, you filter them through that hurt. Happiness has to fight through security checkpoints just to reach you.
Matt, I just love your analogies. Picture someone's happiness trying to fight through a security checkpoint with today's TSA drama, and happiness needing security clearance just to get to your heart. Now, you mentioned earlier that some people are VIP members of this club. I feel like we need to break down how this looks different for different people.
Oh, absolutely. The way we use the card varies. Let's talk about the ladies first. Some women have a lifetime membership to the I Remember Everything Club.
You must mean the receipt keepers.
The receipt keepers. A husband comes home happy, says, hey, babe, and she squints at him and says, happy? Oh, you must have remembered something you did wrong. What did you do? Swipe. He says he apologized, and she says, yes, I accepted your apology, but I kept the receipt. The interest rate is so high that she is mad at the new him for something the old him did 3 phones and 2 hairstyles ago.
That is painfully accurate, but let's be fair, men aren't off the hook here. Men keep receipts too.
Yes, they do. Men are definitely not off the hook. Men just swipe it differently. A guy will say, I'm not bitter, I'm just saying that's why I don't trust anybody since 2009. My brother, that was 3 presidents ago. Swipe. Or a wife makes one small mistake and he says, see, that's why when we first got married, you did X, Y, and Z.
Why is the trial from 15 years ago still in session?
Exactly. Even Netflix cancels a series eventually. But in a relationship, especially a marriage, you get this joint account bitterness. It's like you forgot our anniversary in 2022, and the response is, yeah, well, you didn't remember my birthday in 2019. You aren't arguing anymore. You're presenting a PowerPoint with footnotes.
It's an automatic overdraft of peace. And the crazy part is, people protect this card. They treat it like a black card. Don't tell me to forgive. This anger is all I have left.
That's the tragedy. They think the bitterness is charging the offender, but the offender is asleep. They're fine. You are the one up at 2 a.m. rehearsing a speech you will never give. And when the cost of that bitterness gets too high, when we can't afford the emotional payments anymore, we don't just cut up the card. We do something worse. We walk into the spiritual pawn shop.
I should have known another analogy was coming, the spiritual pawn shop. Walk us through this. This is a fascinating concept.
Think about a real pawn shop. You go there when you are desperate, when you need a way out. We've been carrying this resentment for years. Our peace is maxed out, and we say, I can't afford this anymore. I have to trade something in. But instead of bringing God our bitterness, we start pawning off the good stuff.
We sell the valuables to pay for the grudge. What are we pawning?
First, we pawn our trust. You say, people hurt me, so I'm done trusting anyone. You walk into that shop with your ability to connect, maybe even your metaphorical wedding ring, and ask, how much can I get for this? And the enemy, the shop owner, says, I'll give you store credit in loneliness and suspicion. No refunds.
That is a terrible trade.
It gets worse. We pawn our joy. We say, I'll never be that goofy, hopeful person again. I'm serious now. I'm guarded. You hand over your smile and you walk out with a ticket that says, congratulations, here is a lifetime supply of sarcasm and side eyes.
Sarcasm as a defense mechanism. I think a lot of people relate to that.
It's cheap protection. We pawn our vulnerability. We say, I will never open up like that again. So the shop hands you a hard shell and a fake I'm good response. You traded your heart for 10% of what it's worth. Or we pawn community. The church hurt me, so I don't do church. My family hurt me, so I don't do family. You walk out with your phone, your couch, and a blanket of isolation.
And we think we are winning because we feel safe.
Right? In the spiritual pawn shop, the transaction sounds like this. I'd like to pawn my hope for marriage. And the shopkeeper says, perfect. In exchange, here is a permanent all men are trash mindset and an addiction to bitter memes. And heaven is looking down saying, you just sold something priceless for pocket change.
In a real pawn shop, they at least tell you, I can't give you what this is worth. But bitterness lies to you. It tells you that this wall will protect you.
But you are walking out having traded peace, joy, tenderness, and connection for a fraction of their value. You think you are pawning your pain, but you are actually putting your heart on the counter.
So how do we get our stuff back? How do we close the account and get out of the shop? We need an internal audit.
Absolutely. We need to stop the bleeding. The first step of the audit is name the biggest debt. Who pops into your mind when you can't sleep? What story do you keep retelling to anyone who will listen? That is your major outstanding balance. You have to identify it to clear it.
And once you name it, you have to distinguish between boundaries and hoarding, right?
Crucial distinction. Some people need distance. That is wisdom. If someone is toxic, you put up a boundary. But there is a difference between protecting yourself and rereading the case file every morning just to stay mad. One is safety, the other is obsession.
And the hardest part, accepting that some debts will never be paid.
That's the one that trips us up. We are waiting for an apology that is never coming. But if your freedom is waiting on their apology, you have chained your joy to someone who lost the key. You have to accept that the debt is bad debt and write it off.
That leads us to the ultimate solution, because willpower alone usually isn't enough to clear a debt this big. This is where the gospel comes in.
This is where it hits different. Jesus does not run a pawn shop. He runs a redeemer's house. The pawn shop says, I'll give you a little for what you lost. Jesus says, I will pay full price for what they did to you and for how you responded.
That's a complete reversal of the system.
It is. At the cross, he looked at our spiritual credit report, every sin, every wrong swipe, every moment of bitterness, and instead of sending us to collections, he stamped it paid in full. If he canceled that much debt for us, why are we still chasing cash back rewards on bitterness?
It's time to let him cut up the card. We need to redeem what we pawned off. So for our listeners, what are the practical steps for this week?
3 simple things. First, name one debt. Write down one person or situation still on the books in your heart. Second, ask God what release looks like. Pray, Lord, what does writing this off look like for me? Maybe it's praying for them. Maybe it's deleting their number. Maybe it's deciding you won't drag their name into every conversation.
And the third,
do one act of release, delete the old text thread, burn the letter, or simply say out loud, God, I release this debt. I choose peace over being right. You might not change what they did, but you can stop paying interest on it for the rest of your life.
That is powerful. Stop paying interest on a debt that's already been covered. Thank you for that breakdown.
My pleasure. It's time to live debt-free on the inside.
If you are listening and you feel like you're emotionally overdrawn, take that step today. Share this with someone who is carrying more victims than your heart can afford. Thanks for joining us in the huddle.